Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to look at the MemSQL Spark connector. The MemSQL Spark connector is great at connecting MemSQL and Spark for applications like ETL or machine learning. Today we're going to look at ETL scenarios comparing the MemSQL Spark connector with traditional JDBC. The MemSQL Spark connector is free and open source. You can get it from github.com. Here's the source code for MemSQL Spark connector version 3. Or you can get the compiled binaries from maven.org. We're going to pull it in straight from maven.org. Let's start off with JDBC. We have a database here, the TPCH dataset, and we use the MemSQL docs to connect to it. So we're going to grab the count of rows in line item, and we see we have 2.5 million rows in this table. We used a MemSQL pipeline to pull that data in from S3. Now let's launch into our Spark context. We're going to install the libraries. We'll use FindSpark, PySpark, and Pandas. Next, we're going to instantiate our Spark connector. We're going to pull in the Maria Java client straight away so that we can use it inside of our Jupyter notebook. We use FindSpark to locate our Spark context and build up a Spark session. Now we're going to pull the data from our database running on the same machine. We're going to use JDBC to pull this in using MySQL. We'll use the machine, this is localhost, to our database, the TPCH database. We'll log into our database, and we'll pull out a data frame. Now this doesn't actually run the query right here. Rather, it sets up the data frame, the data pipeline that we'll use to get data from our source to our destination. Let's take a look at that data frame. We'll just grab 3 random rows. And we see the data that we have here. Order key, part key, supplier key. We have extended price, discount, tax, quantity, but we don't have a price per unit. So let's add a price per unit function. This will set us up into our pipeline. So from data frame, we'll go add this per unit column, and that'll get us data frame 2. And now let's write this data to a new table called line item 2. Here's our ETL process. We're going to pause here because this will take quite some time. Hi, welcome back. Because we use %time, Jupyter was able to keep track of the wall time associated with both reading and writing the data to using JDBC. So 9 minutes and 31 seconds to read and write the data through JDBC to get it into this brand new table, line item 2. We can go look at that line item 2. Let's look at the first few rows. Yep, we've got all our data in place. And let's count them. We had 2.5 million rows originally, and we have 2.5 million rows now. That's perfect. So we did Spark ETL with JDBC. Let's do Spark ETL with MemSQL. Similar thing. Let's start by deleting that line item 2 table. We loaded the line item table from S3 via a MemSQL pipeline. Let's install all of our libraries. All of them are already installed. And as we launch PySpark, we're going to launch it using the MemSQL Spark connector version 3 for our version of Spark. We'll use FindSpark and initialize our Spark context. Now we can choose to enable or disable pushdown. Right now we've chosen not to disable it, so pushdown is enabled. Pushdown allows us to take as much of the SQL query, the select query, and push it into the database so that it can do the wheres and the select columns for us. We'll set up our pipeline. Again, this doesn't do the actual data ingest right now, but rather sets up what we're going to do. Let's take a look at a few rows. Yep, we've got our data. We'll do a transform again. We'll generate the per unit column. And now we're about to write that data back out. We'll use the MemSQL connector as well, creating data into this line item 2 table. Great, with that %time baked into our Jupyter notebook cell, we have Jupyter calculating the time, and it did this in 24.1 seconds. 24.1 seconds compared to the JDBC connection that was 9 minutes and 31 seconds. 24 seconds. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the data. Yep, we've got all of our data in place. And grabbing the counts, we can say that we have 2.5 million rows. This was a look at the MemSQL Spark connector. The MemSQL Spark connector is free and open source and available to connect MemSQL with Spark to do ETL or to do machine learning.